This is episode 5 of the Jordan Davis podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's episode of the Jordan Davis podcast. I am your host, Jordan Davis, of course. And on today's episode, I want to talk about part 2 of our Star Wars discussion is Rey. Now, I started with Kylo Ren for my first part because I kind of knew where he was going. So I think I had more ideas and more what I wanted to say. But with Rey, it's a little bit difficult for me. At least not difficult, different. Because there's a lot of things that have occurred, but I don't exactly know where she's going to go after The Last Jedi, because to me, it looked like, wow, she accomplished her journey. What else she is going to do? So it's going to be very interesting what JJ does in episode 9. But before we cover that, I want to cover The Force Awakens first and how they introduce her. I want to put out right now that I wasn't really the biggest fan when I first saw The Force Awakens on my first viewing. I mean, I love Daisy Ridley. She did a great job of giving us that character. Nothing wrong was with the acting, but I think the writing was not my cup of tea. And I'll tell you why. I just don't think that I found her struggling. Um, yeah, we saw that with how she was living, struggling to survive on the desert planet, but they didn't really explain to me how she was able to fly the Millennium Falcon, how she was able to do all these stuff that we don't even know anything about her yet, and how she was able to do that. Now, I know there's comics, there's books, but as the movie, I'm taking the movie as it is. That was kind of took me out of the movie, because how is she doing all these things? Now that not just that's just me. Um, but everything else, the two characters that in my mind stand out in that movie that they built with Rey was Han Solo and Kylo Ren slash Ben Solo. So let's start with Han Solo, the space pirate himself. I thought it was really cool how they first introduced Rey to Han Solo, kind of like this co-pilot, and also like a father and daughter kind of thing. It kind of reminded me how maybe, I don't know, if young Ben Solo rode the Millennium Falcon with his father. That's kind of relationship that he had with his son. So it really was a charming, innocent father and daughter kind of road trip kind of relationship that you would find in a different kind of movie, not in a Star Wars movie. So that's really, I thought that was really cool. I think now the only problem I had with her relationship with Han Solo, and maybe this is her weakness as well, but I thought she got very attached. And I think that's her weakness. And even Kylo Ren pointed that out in The Last Jedi. She gets attached too easily. She's trying to find her parents. She's trying to find where she belongs, where she fits in. And that's very coming of age. I just didn't buy that she was that attached to him after just meeting him for a couple of hours a day or something. But more I realize that's her weakness. You know, that's one of her flaws that she has. She's always looking for someone to attach to, for her to be that parent that she's always longed for, because her parents abandoned her, had nothing to do with her. But at the same time, it's a quality of having that hope that they might come back. So that's kind of a double-sided coin. It's like I have hope you're gonna come back, but at the same time, it's pretty unlikely that you are gonna come back. So it's that false hope that she had in her parents that she's trying to find in new ones. Like she tried to find in Han Solo. That didn't work out. She tried to find it in Luke Skywalker, and that just ended up disappointing her. So I think through Han Solo, it showed her weakness as a character of belonging and just wants someone to love. She wants someone to love her. And I think to an extent, we saw that from Finn, not as a romantic interest, but I'm talking about in a family kind of way, kind of a brother. I will always be there for you, no matter the decisions you make, which way you go. I'll be there right beside you, there and supporting you 100%. Now let's go to Kylo Ren. A very interesting relationship that they created in The Force Awakens. Now, first of all, I like to say I don't believe Kylo and Rey is an abusive relationship. I don't think that at all. You may think that. You may think it is an abusive relationship, that nothing can come good of this relationship, but I don't think that at all. I think everything that they have gone through in Force Awakens, I think it was just going through war. Because how she first interacted with Kylo Ren in the forest, she was scared. And I think you would be scared too if you had a person in a mask as tall as Jason coming after you with a lightsaber. You'd be trying to run too. But as we got into that interrogation room, I think that's when everything changed for not just me but for everyone. It was like, this is going to be one of the most interesting, unique, unexpected romances in Star Wars history. Because there's been many romances in Star Wars. You can go with the books, the comics, even the extended universe. There's many romances, but I think this romance, Kylo and Rey, yes, I think it's a romance, will really stand on its own. Not compare it to Han and Leia, Anakin and Padme, because they have their own special kind of romances. And I don't think any kind of romance in Star Wars can compete with other romances, because they have different situations, different stories. So, but what I think of the Rey and Kylo Ren kind of relationship slash romance, I think a balance. Because when we think about Rey and Kylo's relationship and how it started and how it ended, there was so much setup, and especially in the last battle. But I have to be honest, I did not like Rey defeating Kylo Ren. But I also thought, wait a minute, he was not even supposed to be the villain anyway. So it doesn't really matter if she defeats him because we all know he's not going to be the villain. Now, at this very time, you might think he's the villain, but I think that's one of JJ's mystery boxes. He is pull the rug right under us, and he's gonna reveal he is not the villain. There's gonna be some other kind of villain that could be Hux, or there could be a totally new villain. We don't know. I just believe in episode 9, don't expect the normal ending. Because in episode 7, I did not expect Rey to defeat Kylo Ren. And even though that battle was it was a great battle, don't get me wrong. And I loved how Kylo Ren was not trying to hurt her. He was trying to control and contain her power long enough to convince her and to stop and think and to join his side. Not necessarily joining the First Order, not necessarily becoming a dark side user, just trying to learn the Force. That's all he wanted to do at that moment. And during that battle, he ended up training her. So it adds another dynamic to their relationship as a teacher and student. And that's another interesting way they have built on Kylo's and Rey's relationship. So I thought that's very interesting. Now, let's go to The Last Jedi. I want to say this. I love pretty much every single thing of Rey's character in The Last Jedi, besides two things that happen. The first one, when she fell into that pit, into water, she acted like she knew how to swim. I don't believe 1 minute of that. She was raised on a desert planet. How do you know how to swim when you're raised on a desert planet? I'm sorry, I can't believe that. That just took me out of the movie. It's like, well, wait a minute. I mean, how is this possible? You were raised on a desert planet. You can't swim. I'm sorry, you did not learn that from Kylo Ren. I'll give you the Force, I'll give you the lightsaber skills, but there is no way you learned how to swim from Kylo Ren. I'm sorry. So, that took me out a little bit, but not much. And I think the other part was how she reacted after her whole confrontation with Ben and the whole join me scene. After all that, she was like all happy and golly gee, and just like how she was in Force Awakens. And I kind of want her to be a little bit more serious, to be honest, because she has been serious throughout the whole film. The beginning, the middle, during her fight in the throne room with Kylo, her confrontation with Kylo after the fight. Then, after she left the First Order, she was like, nothing happens, like nothing happened to her. Then I realized, just like Kylo Ren, they both have masks. They have emotional masks that they put on in front of other people. So, when Kylo Ren was Supreme Leader, he was acting all Darth Vader-y. He was choking and force pushing Hux.